I don't think it's any secret on my channel that I think Panasonic, or Lumix rather, should have a full frame digital stills in motion type camera, or at least Super 35. And there's a very good reason for that. And I know a lot of people agree with me and they're dying for a bigger sensor size than Micro Four Thirds. But there still are the people who say that it's a stupid idea. It's not worth their time. How are they going to compete? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the reasons why Panasonic or Lumix should not implement a bigger sensor size than Micro Four Thirds. And they say that it's stupid. I've seen people on my videos say that like it's a dumb idea, it'll never work. I just don't understand why Sony, Nikon, and Canon can all have a wide range of cameras with various different sensor sizes. I'm talking all the way for like the smallest stuff that's in cell phones, all the way up to stuff that's full frame. There's almost every sensor size from every one of those camera manufacturers, from point and shoot to aps-c to full frame to mirrorless that's smaller than aps-c. Everything. They've got it all. Nikon, Canon, Sony, they've got it all. But Panasonic, for whatever reason, and their Lumix brand, they can't do it. Micro Four Thirds is what they top out at. They can't go bigger than that because why would they? They don't need to. They've invested too much in the Micro Four Thirds system. Well, when you look at Nikon and Canon and Sony, they have different lenses that cover different sensor sizes, right? So why couldn't Panasonic implement something similar? And I'm not saying it's perfect. Yes, it makes it a little bit more confusing. But when you're talking about getting traction in the video world, especially with the GH cameras, the GH4 especially, one of the first, I don't think there was anything before it that was as affordable for 4K with all the fantastic features in that camera. And the one thing that people constantly keep coming back to is the sensor size. Oh, the sensor is just too small. It's the reason the Metabone speed boosters are so popular, because people are looking at Micro Four Thirds and they're like, I want a wider field of view, shallower depth of field. I need a speed booster to fix the problem of the small sensor. Now, Micro Four Thirds isn't small, but compared to aps-c or Super 35 and full frame, it is small. And when you're looking at stuff from Sony that's coming out, their cameras are getting better in low light, really good dynamic range, and people are shifting, right? The 5D Mark II was such a revolutionary camera, and everyone was like, oh, DSLR filmmaking is the future. We've all got to go get DSLRs for video. And the 5D Mark II blew up, right? It was kind of an accident. And there's a bunch of problems with that camera, but people love the shallow depth of field. They love full frame, and the low light is fantastic. And that has gotten better and better and better. And people still want that full frame or bigger sensor feel. So when you're looking at Micro Four Thirds, yes, I understand there are people who like the format and they like the system and they like the lenses. Don't get rid of it. Maybe it doesn't have to be the GH5. Maybe it can be a separate camera line. But to ignore the people who are asking for it, because this the thing is, like, the GH cameras and other Micro Four Thirds cameras, people don't take seriously because of the sensor size in terms of photography or sometimes video. The video people, I think, have a better time accepting it, but I can't really imagine that many people being okay with Micro Four Thirds as their professional photography format when it's supposed to be a hybrid camera. A lot of people want at least aps-c, but almost tons of professional photographers won't shoot on anything smaller than full frame. They want to go medium format, right, for the high-end stuff. And yes, there are different sizes of markets for each of these areas, but to ignore all the people who are switching to Sony because they have aps-c, because they have full frame in affordable camera bodies that can shoot 4K now internally, it's silly to stick with the same thing. Because yeah, you might be able to get some higher frame rates out of the Micro Four Thirds stuff, but that still doesn't offset the people who are ignoring the GH cameras because of their sensor size. You might think these people don't exist, but they do. Many times I'll say how great the GH4 is. I love the GH4. Fantastic camera. And people say, oh, but that's not a real professional camera because it's not full frame. I use the 5D Mark III because it's full frame. And I like face palm because it's so silly, to me anyway. Like, the 5D Mark III, yeah, cool photography camera, but I don't think it's a good video camera. The GH4 is almost a perfect video camera, aside from the fact that it's not so great in low light and it has a smaller, relatively so, sensor in it. So if Panasonic or Lumix, however you want to refer to it, were to implement a bigger sensor camera, like let's say, so aps-c, Super 35, right? That way you can use a speed booster bump it up to that full frame look if you want it, but it's still just Super 35. Even that would be a perfectly fine stopgap. But at a certain point in the future, I don't know when, but at a certain point, medium format's going to actually do video and do it well. I know Pentax has their camera that does video and it's kind of garbage, but once medium format starts doing video, you better believe everyone's going to want to jump on that bandwagon because, again, shallow depth of field, field of view, all the great things that you get with medium format over full frame. And if Panasonic keeps sticking with micro four thirds forever, ultimately it's going to burn itself out. There's that whole thing of like, if you don't cannibalize your own market, someone else will. And I get that it would be R&D. I get that it's hard. I get that it's challenging. They have all this money invested in micro four thirds. Yes, don't give it up. But that's not to say you can't also invest in something else. And yes, I'm not head of Panasonic's business development or whatever. Yeah, I don't know everything going on behind the scenes over there. But when I look at the current landscape of what's out there, when I look at the cameras that are available at the different price points, the GH4 is incredibly popular because of the video features it has, not because it's micro four thirds, but because of the advanced video features that it has. And if it had a bigger sensor in it, I know for a fact there would be more people interested in the camera. I don't think there'd be less. I don't think people would say, oh, that sensor's too big for me. Because that's the other thing I hear. Oh, well, if the sensor's too big, the lenses have to get bigger. Well, yeah, but not substantially so. We're not talking about a pocketable camera to the point where like, oh, it was pocketable and now it's not. No, you can't put a GH4 in your pocket. You can't put an A7S in your pocket. Yes, the body you could, but the moment you put a lens on there, you can't put it in your pocket anymore. No matter what, even whether it's micro four thirds or full frame. Even if you have a pancake lens, that's not going to fit in your pocket. I've got my phone, right? The moment you put a lens on this is not going to fit in your pocket. So this whole idea of making these small cameras that are pocketable makes absolutely no sense to me. I understand that wanting a small camera that's lightweight so maybe you can fly it on a drone, but that's even a smaller percentage of the market. That's like a fraction of a percent probably. So trying to make these cameras as small as possible shouldn't be the goal. Trying to make them as good as possible should be the goal, because if you make a good product, people will buy it. The GH4 is really, really close. Convinced a lot of people, myself included. The only thing it hasn't captured is all those people who want Super 35 and full frame look with or without adapters. So that's why if they went Super 35, that way you could use a Metabone speed booster or something like that. Or if they went full frame, that would be great too. So I still see the pushback from people saying that it's a stupid, dumb investment. And maybe it is. Maybe it would burn everything down if they were to invest that money. But I'm pretty sure that you could make it work, especially considering there's not really a good $2,000 to $3,000 Panasonic camera. You go from the GH4 right up into the professional stuff that starts around like $5,000. There's a nice window in there where you could fit a higher end DSLR type camera that has a bigger sensor, maybe a few more professional features, maybe a better codec or something like that, that you could sell for $2,000 or $3,000. And then there'd still be that next tier up of the, professional cameras, which, I mean, I don't know what makes a camera professional and what doesn't. I mean, it's all about how you use it, right? So there really isn't that much distinction there, but that's what people refer to it as. So I guess I'll go along with their system. But there's a nice window there where they could fit something in. I don't know if they will. They probably won't. They'll probably stick with micro four thirds. And at a certain point, Sony is going to actually start making good camera bodies, I hope, in terms of like hardware. And they're going to hopefully get good menu systems and hopefully implement better battery life and hopefully fix all the overheating issues. And at that point, everyone's going to go Sony for their cameras, because why wouldn't you? The GH4 definitely has some advantages over the competition right now, but that's not going to stay that way for long. So they really have to implement something to push it to that next level. And that could be frame rate, that could be codec, that could be a lot, that could be low light, it could be a bunch of different things. But I think sensor size is one of those key elements.